Hey there fellow Planeswalkers, it's Steve for Collector Mania, and we are continuing on our Dominaria Commander deck tech series with Raff Capashen ship's Mage. Really interesting commander. Being able to essentially flash in all of your historic spells is actually really cool. I decided to go a little bit differently than a lot of people with this and decided to go for a Voltron slash legendary sub-theme type deck. It's actually pretty interesting. I've always found that one of the biggest issues with Voltron type decks is that usually people have like a turn to respond to your huge threat. With this, it makes it a little bit tighter, you know, as far as like I can flash out, you know, Mage, for example, on the turn before my turn and then suit him up on my turn and then just start swinging at people. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and break into the deck here. So, of course, there are a few non-legendary creatures in here. I think there's like 3 or 4. One of those being Pure Steel Paladin. I think he's definitely worth running. The Metalcraft, you know, being able to equip things for 0 is really, really important, and also the card draw is pretty much essential. I mean, we love drawing cards, and having something that we're already doing, you know, casting equipment, drawing cards for that is really, really cool. Then, of course, we've got SRAM, Senior Edificer. This is another one of those amazing card draw, you know, effects. They've got a Stoneforge Mystic, got to fetch up those swords and whatnot. Armory Automaton. This is actually a really interesting creature. Eric's been playing it in a few decks recently, and I've been seeing the power of it, and it's actually really, really cool. Brass Squire, you know, instant speed, change of equipment. Brimaz, King of Rescas. So this is a pretty interesting creature, I think. Being able to flash it in before somebody goes to attacks to kind of ward them off attacking you is pretty cool. Also, just getting a bunch of cat tokens is awesome, and then Brimaz is a force to reckon with itself. Furnished Heart, a little bit of ramp. Dominaria Commander Paragon, gotta have this one in here. Daxos of Malintus. So this has always been on my radar. It's a pretty interesting creature. I've wanted to use it in like a 1v1 type build, but for the longest time, Geist Stain Draft just was miles ahead of this. Of course, Geist being banned recently kind of changed that around for me. I don't know if I'll ever build the 1v1 version of this, but it's definitely an interesting commander choice, and it's really interesting as a choice for a creature in here as well. Then, of course, Geist Stain Draft. Really, really good Voltron creature. It having hexproof right away is amazing, and then being able to throw anything on it, like there's the Hero's Blade, makes this a 5/4. Really, really cool. Hand of Ship's Navigator, a great way to get back all of our equipment. Kefnet the Mindful. So this is more of a interesting choice to me. I have been playing this card in a lot of decks recently because it's actually really powerful. I mean, I find that in the decks that it's in, usually I have the cards to make it a creature, and then it's just a 5/5 flying indestructible that's really, really cool and has an activated ability that essentially draws you cards, so there's no reason not to run this card. I've got Kimba, Ka Regent, of course. Thalia, Heretic Cathar. Thassa, God of the Sea. This is amazing for not just the scry trigger, but also for the being able to make your creatures unblockable. Since we are kind of a Voltron strategy, this is actually pretty cool. Being able to, you know, give that Geist Stain Draft unblockable while he's still a little bit weaker and can be blocked and killed is really important. Balan, Wandering Knight. This is another choice. As far as like commanders, I've been looking at maybe potentially building this as a mono white commander just for fun. More of like a casual deck, I would say, but I think in this deck he actually works really well. Ifara, God of Apollos. This is a great card draw engine. Audric, Master Tactician. This is an amazing creature. Then we've got Aketra the True. Once again, having an indestructible creature that can be equipped is amazing. Yeah, there's the downside of having to have 3 creatures, but I think we're going to be okay with that. I've got Shakashima the Imposter. I chose this over pretty much all the others just because we can return it to our hand and then clone something else. Solemn Simulacrum. Tishar, Ancestor's Apostle. Vinsur, Shaper Savant. This is one of our best responses to like board wipes, like Supreme Verdict, so on and so forth. We can just bounce it back to their hand and then, you know, survive for another turn. Dejero with Eyes Open. So one of the big turning points for me was I realized that obviously there are some pretty good planeswalkers that I could be running in here, and you know, them being legendary lets them flash in, so that's pretty cool, and this card just tutors them up for me, so awesome. I've got Dragonlord Ojutai, one of my favorite creatures from that set. It's a powerhouse if you get it to stick on the board, and most likely it's going to stick on the board because of the hexproof. Just give this guy vigilance and all of a sudden you're just swinging through, drawing cards, all kinds of crazy stuff. I've got Lavinia the 10th. This has probably been one of my staples in my Brago deck ever since, I don't know, I built it. So having something like this, a little bit of like, I guess, kind of stacksy kind of control thing going on, where you shut pretty much everyone else down for a turn with the permanents that are on the battlefield. It's really cool actually, and it works out a lot in your favor. Stone Hero Giant, one of the non-legendary creatures in here. Non-historic, I should say. Really, really powerful. Being able to auto, or, you know, just like instant speed equip any of the equipments in your deck. Yeah, it could be really important, especially with like the Black Blade. All of a sudden, your creature's getting like +10/+10, and then just finish somebody off. That's pretty cool. Then Azor the Lawbringer. I've been playing more and more with this card. I have a Brawl deck built around him, and I've been, you know, really testing it out there. And I just think it's a good kind of just creature for the Sphinx's Revelation. I wasn't too high on it when it first got spoiled, but the more I play with it, the better it actually is. Then Asperia Supreme Judge. Once again, just like with Brimaz, being able to flash this in before somebody goes to attacks can ward them off attacking you. I mean, it can be a big surprise. And even if they do end up attacking you, just get to draw a whole bunch of cards, so that's pretty cool. Elishnorn, of course, being able to instant speed flash this in and basically wreck everybody's plans is really, really important. And then Avacyn, Angel of Hope. So that rounds out our creatures. We're going to jump into our planeswalkers here. So Nahiri the Lithromancer, since we are a Voltron type build, having something that return our equipment from the graveyard to hand is actually pretty cool. The other abilities, they're okay. I mean, the +1 gives you a token. That's decent. The -10, I've never really found that. When I've even gotten to the ultimate, I've never really found it that effective. Like, it can be bounced and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm really thinking the +2 and the -2 is really what we're using this for. And then, of course, Tezzeret the Seeker, being able to search up some of our lower cost artifacts and then being able to untap some of our mana rocks is really important. And then breaking into our artifacts here, we've got an Elixir of Immortality, a Soul Ring, Azorius Signet, Black Blade Reforged. This is an amazing equipment. I've gotten the chance to play around with it lately, and it can really just buff your creatures to be massive giant monsters. The equip legendary creature for 3, that's pretty much all we'll be paying. We're not really planning on equipping this for 7, and like I said with Stone Hero Giant, most of the time we're just going to go fetch this from our library and put it into play anyway, so not bad. Hero's Blade. This works amazingly with Geist Saint Traft and pretty much any other legendary creature. Just auto-equip is always great. Mind Stone. Swiftfoot Boots, a little bit hexproof. Sword of the Animus, a little bit ramp. Thought Vessel. Umezawa's Jite, of course one of the best equipments ever printed. Commander Sphere. Darksteel Plate. Luxodon Warhammer. Sword of Feast and Famine, probably the best of the swords in Commander. Being able to untap all your lands is always great. The discard doesn't really matter as much, but the protection is amazing. Like black and green, that's perfect. Hammer of Nazan, this is an amazing equipment if you haven't gotten the chance to play with it. I picked up the cat deck exclusively for this card. It is ridiculously amazing. Plus the artwork is just so cool. Hedron Archive. Helm of the Host. Now, so this is a auto-include in this deck in my opinion. Since we are running all legendaries, being able to really use this Helm of the Host to its full potential, in my opinion, is just wow. Like, imagine hooking this on something like Brimaz. All of a sudden you're getting another Brimaz, and then you're getting more and more tokens, and more tokens. Yeah, it's just amazing. Or even if you think about equipping it to a non-legendary creature, it still works okay, like Stoneforge Mystics, so on and so forth. Grand Temporal Gateway, so this is a great way to flash in a bunch of our other historic spells if we don't have our commander in play. Weatherlight, Enlightened Tutor, Swords to Plowshares, Cyclonic Rift, Reality Shift, Disallow, one of the best counterspells in my opinion at this point, Cryptic Command, another one of the best counterspells. Then we've got Steel Shaper's Gift, Open the Armory, which if you don't have this card, especially in foil, try picking it up like right now. Like, I think this is going to be a mover at some point. It's actually a really, really good card for its cost and everything. Yeah, it's sorcery speed, but it actually works really, really well. Wrath of God. Urza's Ruinous Blast, since we are playing pretty much all historic permanents, this actually works really well. Yeah, it hits, you know, our artifacts when they're not legendary, but for the most part, our deck is, you know, really legendary. Like, pretty much all of our creatures are legendary, so this doesn't hit us as hard as it hits everybody else. Then we're breaking to our lands. We've got, of course, Academy Ruins, Adakar Wastes, Azorius Chancery, Azorius Guildgate, Celestial Colonnade, Glacial Fortress, Hollowed Fountain, Mystic Gate, Nimbus Maze, Port Town, Prairie Stream, Reliquary Tower, Sajiri Refuge, Temple of Enlightenment, and then our plains and our islands. And with that, that is the deck tech. I hope you guys have enjoyed as always, and then, you know, as I always say, give us feedback, let us know what we're doing right, let us know what we're doing wrong, and we will see you for the next deck tech.